Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 309.
309.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel, with everything coming up this year, including Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which Jeff has now been inside, as well as new fireworks at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and the new extra magic hours this fall.
Extra.
Yes. You'll want to definitely check out MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. They can help you with all your travel needs. Plus, there are discounts this summer if you can't make it for fall. But personally, I'd wait for fall.
You know, there's never a bad time to come to Walt Disney World.
That's true. And again, discounts this summer. So if that's the time you can come, there's a lot to see here.
So this week, we're going to be talking all about Disney's Hollywood Studios.
And we're going to be starting first. Now, you did a media event, but before that, we went to go see Fancy Nancy like a couple days earlier because she started at the end of April. Originally, they said about May 1st, but it ended up being, I think, like April 28th. And she is not only here, but she's at the Disney Junior Play and Dine. So if you're a fan of Fancy Nancy, she actually replaced Sofia the First, and that's the one thing that we've gotten a lot of comments about that, because Sofia, she was there for 6 years, which I can't even believe. I remember seeing Sofia
were there
the first
opening
time.
it just like this. This is the very first time Fancy Nancy has ever appeared, and we were there for her big arrival, and they were the very first guests to ever meet her right there. Here she is, and again, you mentioned this is the same area that used to have Sofia the First.
Right, and this is near the Brown Derby, so when you come into the Disney Junior location, I called it the Fancy Nancy Courtyard for some reason.
I'm sure she loves that. Ooh la la.
Ooh la la, yeah. She's on the right-hand side first, and also meeting in the courtyard, the Disney Junior area, the animation courtyard, are Doc McStuffins, Pluto, and who else? Oh, Vampirina.
I can never forget about Vampirina.
Vampirina replaced Jake late last year. So that is who you can meet. And Fancy Nancy, I was surprised how many guests were here because it wasn't really announced ahead of time. It was on the internet just a little bit, but Disney had not announced that she would be a couple days earlier than originally what seemed to be the schedule.
And here you are getting her autograph, and she just signs Nancy. I guess you have to know that she's already fancy.
Yes, and I'm just like, afterwards, I'm like, I didn't really want to be in the video. Like, I didn't realize I was going to be in it.
Well, it's very hard. It's very hard to get these angles, you know.
Yes.
But I would recommend getting there as early as possible, just like any time with these characters. Very, very popular. Later on in the day, the line was extremely long. Throughout the weekend, every time I walked by, it was also quite a very, very big line. So Fancy Nancy, very popular.
I think she starts at about 9:30 every day, so just check the schedule. And there is her autograph presented by Pull-Ups.
And I just want to mention that Fancy Nancy has also debuted at Disneyland at Disney California Adventure Park.
And that was supposed to happen in later May, so that was several weeks early too. So anyway, you can find Nancy at either Disney's Hollywood Studios or Disney California Adventure, and there is Pluto as well.
As you had mentioned earlier, we were here for the big 30th anniversary of Disney's Hollywood Studios, and both of us have been around since the very beginning of the then Disney MGM Studios.
Right, so we both were there opening year, and Jeff was the one. It was only for one, the media credential, but you can see my name is on there because they thought it was that I was going to be doing it, but you did.
That's Christy, by the way, our rep, who was the best rep ever.
She was fantastic, and Melody is back there
yes,
also,
yes,
Steve
yes.
Bagnini's wife. And she's really fun too. So anyway, you were able to go and you learned a little bit about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, although from what I read, a lot of it was sort of things that we learned last year.
That's very true. And it's a very long presentation, so I'm going to link to it right here as you're watching the show. And also at the end, I will link to it in the show notes.
Now, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway was originally going to open this year. I think it was originally supposed to open in like spring, but then like fall, and now next spring is when it's supposed to open, so
right.
We'll see.
Well, it sounds like everything is on track, and they've also announced it will be coming to Disneyland in Anaheim as well.
Right, and that would be 2022. But the most exciting thing for me was that the Toy Story Land is going to have a sit-down restaurant.
And we're going to talk about that much more later on in the show. Right now, though, we're going to talk about merchandise. And you can see here some of the limited edition magic bands they have. And there was a regular one, and there was a annual pass holder version. And at the event, they had media interview opportunities, and we did a number of those. I'm not used to being in front of the camera. I'm usually doing the video, so bear with me. But here we go. We're going to talk a little bit about the merchandise. All right, it's Jeff from Mousesteps, and we're going to hear about all this new merchandise here.
Absolutely. Debuting tomorrow, our 30th anniversary merchandise. You can see we've got a lot of great apparel that was created for guests of all ages to take home items that commemorate all of the fun of this huge milestone for our park, ranging from wonderful t-shirts and hats with a great logo, as well as this great Tervis tumbler. It's a good size, featuring Mickey and some nice characters, Disney's Hollywood Studios. Our annual pass holders also have merchandise that was created specifically for them, so a very different logo and also very nice to see. And then we do have some other keepsakes and collectibles over here from our limited edition and limited release pins, as well as ornaments. You can see the dual siding on the logo on that.
And how limited is all this 30th merchandise?
Limited to probably the normal range. It ranges for the different items as well. So some are limited release and some are limited edition. All of this merchandise for the 30th anniversary will be available tomorrow at Stage 1 Company Store, located right across from Pizza Rizzo.
Very nice. Any word if it'll be available online at all?
Not yet. We're hoping that all of our guests are able to come and enjoy the fun here in the park.
All right. Well, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So here's a look at some of the pins, and I think most of these have now sold out.
So, but I think some of the other items like t-shirts and such, hopefully they'll be around for a little while. I don't think we'd be talking about them if we didn't think, hopefully they'll be around for a little.
The hat, the t-shirt, everything but the pins, I believe, was still available at least a couple of days after the event, and I think they will continue to be for a while.
I think that would be really nice. So here we are. You went into Galaxy's Edge, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which was amazing. I think you were in there from almost 10 minutes. I mean, you were in there a while.
Right. As you said, almost 10 minutes, but it felt like just 2 minutes. You know, everything went by so fast when you're in there and seeing everything. But immediately after getting out, I was given a chance to talk to one of the Imagineers.
And you didn't know that was going to happen. So here is Jeff, and this is Chad, project manager Chad, and I'm not sure how to say his last name, but we'll just say Chad. And he was really terrific. So here is Jeff and Chad.
Hi, this is Jeff from Mousesteps. We're about to hear some about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which I just got to see, and I'm still can't even come down.
You only saw a little bit of it too, so more to come. We want to be able to take you out of Disney's Hollywood Studios, so you have a transition. You really get to experience Batuu by itself.
So can you tell me a little bit about what we will see on opening day?
Yeah, we'll start with Phase 1. The land will open with the Black Spire Outpost, along with Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run. Get to experience being in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, everything everybody's always dreamed of. But you get to experience the sounds, the sights, the tastes, the smells of this planet where a lot of different people come and visit.
Well, you mentioned tastes.
We have a couple of different options, one of which would be a space meat from Ronto Roasters, which is kind of a meat on a spit. Not sure what kind of meat it is, but then it's fired with a pod racer engine, so could be interesting.
and you don't need reservations. These are all walk-ups?
Correct.
And what about, there's a bar?
There's a cantina.
A cantina,
yeah,
of course.
Oga's Cantina. So we'll have some interesting beverages from Batuu and Black Spire Outpost in there too. I'm sure everybody will stop in for one of those.
Are we standing at the main entrance right now?
You're standing at one of two entrances.
Okay.
This one off Grand Avenue here at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and then there will be a second one off from Toy Story Land.
Okay, and you can go in and out of both of them?
Right now they're working on the operation of the land, but we'll let our guests know plenty of time before they get here and how to visit Batuu.
Well, very exciting. I can't wait to go and experience it opening day.
Great. We'll be here August 29th.
We'll be here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
So I'll tell a little bit about the tour back there. We started off by going in the Grand Avenue entrance, and that's sort of like a tunnel. And as soon as you went into the tunnel, we saw a model, and I guess it was their rockwork model, but it was very, very much like what we saw at the D23 Expo, big model. And then we walked in to Black Spire Outpost, and we were able to see the entrance to Rise of the Resistance, Phase 2, the attraction that will be opening later this year. Now, when you actually see with your own eyes all that is Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, you can't see it all. There's just so much. I mean, you can see that there's more, but you really need to walk around and explore. And I think he was saying there's sort of a layering effect, that you just need a lot of time, repeat visits. You can't really see all the details in one visit.
You did not have a peek inside the land, which is what really I thought you were going to have. You actually were able to walk in to the land some, and I think somebody told me maybe 50 feet or so is what they felt that they probably walked in.
Yeah, it was much more than I expected too. I thought maybe we would just walk right behind the door and that was it, but we really walked in. You saw the details in the even the rock work and all that. So it was very much very amazing. It was sort of like the first time we ever visited Cars Land, and you just saw Ornament Valley when we did that. You know how we took that second entrance where you really get the big reveal? That's what it felt like. It was just, the size was just incredible.
And there's going to be 2 entrances. So you went in one of the entrances, and then the other one will be at Toy Story Land. Also, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is 14 acres, and it will be the largest single-themed land expansion both at Disneyland and Disney's Hollywood Studios. I believe Radiator Springs is about 12 acres, so it's larger than that.
Yeah, just again, it's all about the size. I mean, this place was huge, and apparently at Disneyland there's going to be 3 entrances and exits, and here at Walt Disney World there'll be 2. So that's one of the only little differences between the 2 lands.
And we're going to be going into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland on opening day.
Thanks to you.
Yes,
Thanks
I couldn't
to
believe
you.
that. I
You got the right reservation.
Well, I thought it was going in order because you were already logged in a half hour or so before I was to sign up, and then I ended up somehow getting in.
Apparently it was random.
It was random, so I was able to get 11 a.m. on May 31st.
I can't believe I'll be able to have said I've been in both Galaxy's Edges in the same month.
And I'll get to be in my first one. So I'm excited to share it, and we may end up trying to do a show where we actually talk inside Galaxy's Edge as opposed to what we normally do.
Right. We're having to sort of break things up a little bit these last few episodes, but we'll get back to our normal way. But I think we will try that experiment while we're out there live.
Well, in part because otherwise it will be like 2 weeks from the time we go in till the time we record. So better to do it that way.
But it was really incredible, and I'm very thankful that we were able to have the opportunity to check that out. And we'll talk more about that in the coming weeks.
I'm very jealous, but we'll be in the Disneyland one very soon. So here we are in Toy Story Land, and we had ridden Slinky Dog Dash. Not only is it a great coaster, but it is a terrific way to see Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So that I usually photograph it when we go on.
Yeah, every time we ride it, I can never see Galaxy's Edge because you're always photographing. But the end result is well worth it. Look at these great pictures you took.
You were on the side of Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah,
so
but I have to duck down so I don't block the camera. I've been well trained, you know.
Anyway, it's really a fantastic view from there, and it's hard to believe on August 29th, we will be seeing, I don't know if we'll be seeing, but on August 29th, guess we'll be seeing Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Looks like this guy is having a really good time there.
Yes.
On the Slinky Dog.
So you rode it by yourself that time. So it was really a good day. But now we're going to be talking about the transformation of Disney's Hollywood Studios with Nathaniel Palma. He used to be a Walt Disney World Ambassador, and he's a friend of ours as well.
It's Jeff from Mousesteps, and we're going to hear all about the transformation of Disney's Hollywood Studios.
So as part of this transformation and of the celebration of the 30th anniversary, we're having 2 major expansions, right? One was opening last year with the opening of Toy Story Land literally right behind us, where you get to step into Andy's backyard and you get to be shrunk to the size of the toy and play with Woody, Jessie, Buzz, and all your favorite characters. But now, later this summer, we will be opening Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
I've heard of that.
Just a little bit,
Just
I'm
a
sure.
little bit.
Yeah, so what are you the most excited for Galaxy's Edge?
Oh boy, just the whole thing, just getting
Yes.
in there. And I was actually just in the land for a little preview.
What do you think?
And it is spectacular. Just the size of everything is incredible.
Well, 14 acres, right? So it's going to be the largest land over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And literally we're going to have, it's going to be the most immersive ever. So we even think that Toy Story Land is immersive. Just wait until you see the whole Disney's, Star Wars land, because it's going to have 2 new attractions. It's going to have marketplaces all around, just like you would in a planet, right? So the stories are going to go to Planet of Batuu, which is a planet that has not been released into the movies yet, because we know how much the guests have an emotional connection with the stories, and we wanted them to create their own story, not based on the stories that we already had, if that makes sense, right? So it's a brand new planet that nobody has really seen. So when you step into it, you get to create your own adventure. And so we're going to have a cantina, of course, some of the classic things like you would in any other Star Wars planet.
Little
with
blue milk, yes.
Blue and green milk, I heard.
Green
yes.
milk?
I don't know much about this green milk, but the blue milk is, the famous one that Luke Skywalker, grew up with. And then we're going to have markets where you can get your wardrobe and merchandise just like you would in the Planet of Batuu, and 2 new attractions, right? The Smuggler's Run, where you get to ride and fly the Millennium Falcon. And then we're going to have the Rise of the Resistance.
That's phase 2.
That's phase 2.
Yeah.
And it's phase 2 because it's just that amazing and that intense. It's going to be the latest in technology. The whole attraction is going to be a whole experience where you get to really come up, and join the resistance to fight the dark forces.
And I also heard there was an announcement about Toy Story Land right behind us today.
Yes.
Can you
So
tell us?
Toy Story Land has been extremely popular, right? And our guests absolutely love playing in his backyard. But we heard that they want even more. And people love food. I don't know about you, but I do love a good Disney
little bit,
dining.
yes.
So we've had a Winnie's Lunchbox with some of your classics there, which are very popular. But we're going to actually just announce a barbecue, the rodeo barbecue that is going to be right actually behind us next to Woody, where it's going to be a sit-down service indoors in Toy Story Land.
And that will be great. Very well needed. You could see it is fully indoors, nicely themed, and it's going to be right behind where we just were, right behind Woody, he said.
I'm very happy for anything that's indoors in Toy Story Land. I hope eventually we'll have an indoor shop as well, but to have a table service restaurant, just an additional table service restaurant in Disney's Hollywood Studios is well needed, and certainly in Toy Story Land. And it looks like it will be really nice.
Well, I think it's the area that the original Al's Toy Barn was supposed to be, so we'll see what happens.
I have no idea where that is.
Well, right there, right behind Woody.
So we'll see. I'm sure they'll start construction pretty soon since it's been announced now.
So we also had a very nice reception here, and this was at the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. And I've had parties there before, but this was a very nice one.
And Jim McPhee, Senior Vice President of Operations at Walt Disney World, spoke, and you're just going to show a little bit. I just want to say he was really nice to me when I broke my ankle at a Harambe Nights event, and he also was there for the 25th anniversary speaking of Epcot.
Oh, he's always been great.
He's been around for a long time, and I really like him.
When you think about 30 years ago, there was a dedication moment out on Hollywood Boulevard, and I thought I would take just a second to share the words that were shared then, because we believe they're incredibly relevant today. The world you have entered was created by the Walt Disney Company and is dedicated to Hollywood. Not a place on a map, but a state of mind that exists wherever people dream, wonder, and imagine. A place where illusion and reality are fused by magic. We welcome you to a Hollywood that never was and always will be. Tonight, we really reaffirm the fact that, as Walt said many years ago, we are just getting started. We're excited about all of the guests who are going to be visiting us to fulfill the living of their adventure and letting them have their adventure begin. So thank you for being here tonight. I look forward to seeing you out on Hollywood Boulevard, and have a great evening. Take care.
It was a great party, and afterwards we headed over to check out the Wonderful World of Animation projection show.
And I have not yet seen this in person, but it looks stunning just from the video. So we have a few little clips from show director Tony Giordano talking about it, and then we'll just discuss it just a little bit.
Wonderful World of Animation is a projection show at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and it basically celebrates Walt Disney Animation, all the way from Walt Disney films, Pixar films, and 90 years of Mickey and Minnie. I think this show is spectacular. It has a lot of elements that we were able to bring in. We have lasers, we have some really cool fire effects, we have a little bit of pyro, but all the teams that worked together on this really brought their best to this show. What's really exciting about this show is it's distinctly Disney's Hollywood Studios. We're celebrating animation in a different way. We're showing the action, we're showing the heart, and we're reminding people how much we love these films. So it really is a love letter to the amazing history that all started with a mouse.
And indeed, the show does start with a mouse. It's Mickey here at the beginning of his career in black and white, but then he's going to quickly move over to color, to Fantasia, which is nice for me because it kind of reminds me of a show that used to be here in the early 90s called Sorcery in the Sky, which had a big Mickey Mouse inflatable on the top of the Chinese theater that would shoot sparkles out of his finger.
Now, the show just kind of spans animation, and the last thing we'll see also is Mickey. But what I want to mention is that the Wonderful World of Animation replaced Disney Movie Magic. And at first I heard that maybe they would both run. But if you go to Disney Movie Magic online, if you Google it and you go to the Disney site, it's a Wonderful World of Animation. So I don't think that will be here right now.
Yeah, I think it'll be this one for a little while. And you just saw earlier some Coco, which is one of my favorite, probably my favorite segment in this whole production. But I do like Cars, another throwback to Cars. A lot of Cars at the studios now.
And I think that on the Chinese theater, they've been doing projection shows for probably a few years now. And I just think they keep getting better and better. And really, for clarity, and I'm only going by video, I just think this one looks as good as any of the others have.
Well,
or
and
better.
they've upped it. And I love this, by the way, because the music, it reminds me of Paint the Night.
Well, I call it the Paint the Night segment because you hear that music, and I love Paint the Night so much. I hope they'll play it at Disneyland sometime this summer.
But this is enhanced over the previous show because we have fireworks, a little bit of fireworks here, and you have lasers. And I'm not quite sure the last one had that.
No, I don't think Disney Movie Magic really had this level, the fireworks and all that. So, again, look at the projections, look fantastic. So I can't wait to actually see it in person.
So here we are, it's May 1st, and it's actually the 30th anniversary to the day of the opening of Disney's Hollywood Studios.
And I wasn't there on opening day, but I was there opening year, as you were as well. And I think we're looking at a little B-roll
Yes,
here.
there's no way that was the accurate real morning because it was packed.
It was really busy when we arrived. They were giving out 30 years of Disney's Hollywood Studios buttons and actually posters as well. They were really generous that day with the little giveaways.
And because it was the anniversary, we thought the first thing we would do is head over and just take a look at the plaque. And there it is, May 1st, 1989, signed by Michael Eisner for the opening of the then Disney MGM Studios.
Actually, you went over there. I was trying to find a place.
Well, that's true.
Jeff had a spot, like a media spot, for photographing.
This is a very good
it was
spot.
It was really busy. I went to the very front where they come out, and it was a really different experience, and I was almost in the bushes, but I was very happy with my area.
Well, my Disney rep came through. She got me there nice and early. So once again, it was very nice to have that benefit.
No, I was, it was busy. And it used to be that these type of events weren't that busy. Now, this is a cavalcade already starting, and you have Mickey and Minnie. And it's very different than, let's say, 5 years ago, because it really was more of a production. So where I was almost like a staging area for the production. It totally was. And then here you actually saw it as it came down, and it was being live streamed.
But there were delays. There were definite delays in the various floats and things coming down.
Well, right, because they were being staged, and then, they were being live streamed. And so, like, I saw this group from Indiana Jones, the Indiana Jones show, where they weren't, there were no stunts when I was watching.
And the driver there is one of the original Indiana Jones characters.
And I have somebody who I know in this, new in this group, so I thought that was fun.
And this is the first time I've ever watched the Disney parade and had a fight break out from the parade.
And see, again, the staging area, I just saw them standing there waiting to come down Hollywood Boulevard. So then somebody was like, "Oh, there was a stunt," and I'm like, "Who had a stunt?" Like,
and I don't know if you know, but they did it twice.
I did.
They did it halfway down the street, and then so we all saw it, and then they did it in front of us. So it was kind of nice. We were able to prepare for it.
No, I think that's really fun. It was just interesting. I was able to take photos of them really, really well. there was no action where I was.
And I have to say, it was a perfect weather day. We got very lucky because on the actual real opening of Disney MGM Studios, when they had the media event, it was pouring rain.
And we've had a lot of rain lately too. So here you have like princes and princesses,
Prince
right.
Eric and Princess
Ariel,
of course, of course.
And of course they have the Voyage of the Little. Is it Voyage of the Little Mermaid?
That is correct.
Yes, because there's so many Little Mermaid. It feels like there's a million Little Mermaid attractions
Little
now.
tidbit, that theater used to house Here Come the Muppets previously to the Little Mermaid, which was a wonderful show.
I don't know if I ever saw it. You would think I would have seen it, but
It was a great show. I have video of it. I'll show it to you.
And here there are Belle and the Beast, and of course you have the Beauty and the Beast show.
And that show has been running since the early '90s. Maybe one of the longest running stage shows they've had at Disney parks.
I've only seen it maybe a couple of times, surprisingly. I don't know why, but I haven't gone too often.
Well, it used to play in a place called the Hollywood Bowl that was right there, right where Sunset used to be.
And it's hard to believe that there was a theater there. Like it's so vague in my mind at this point.
Yeah, a lot of good shows though. Mm-hmm. And the next group here is a Toy Story Land group, and we see the Green Army Men leading the way.
And I really enjoyed this one. You have not only the Green Army Men, but you've got Woody, Jessie, and Buzz, and we'll see them in just a second. But Toy Story Land was such a big addition to the park last year, and the Green Army Men are a very popular part of that as well.
And ladies.
And the Green Army
people,
yes. Okay, so we'll call them the Green Army people. And then they have, of course, the Pixar balls. And here are Woody and Jessie and Buzz in two different cars. And I really like that you have kind of that Luxo ball look to everything on it.
Oh, the cars are great. I mean, fantastic.
And the tires.
I never would have expected them to go all out and fully theme the cars like that. So I wonder if whoever owns them is able to keep it this way.
I don't know. I think that would be interesting to see them again.
See that driving down the floor.
Yes. So the biggest surprise for me in the parade was the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge costumed cast members. And at first I didn't even realize that's what I was looking at were the real costumes. It took me a minute. Because kind of where they were standing, it just wasn't like I grasped it and like, oh, okay, now I got to take pictures.
Well, it was really nice to see them actually being worn. I've seen them in pictures and I've seen them sort of on display, but it was the actual people right in front of you, were cast members. It was really neat.
Well, I had seen a couple costumes had been on display just so that we could look at them for the 30th anniversary, but then it was like, I mean, you've got a couple dozen costume cast here, so it was really fun to kind of see them in action.
And you had a little skit there. You had Chewbacca shooting his gun off into the air, and you had stormtroopers, and there they go.
And everybody pretty much on my Twitter feed said hopefully those are cooler outfits than they look. So it'll be interesting. It would be interesting to kind of see them up close, the costumes.
So after this part of the procession ended, everybody was able to sort of move up, and there was a little presentation. And why don't you tell us about that?
Well, you can actually see both me and Jeff in here. And actually, I walked down with right behind the banner, so I'm in the B-roll as well. But we ended up getting to see the new logo. That was something that I had not heard at all ahead of time. That might happen. So there is a new logo for Disney's Hollywood Studios.
And the new logo is right here, right coming here. And it was a big surprise. As you said, I had no idea they were going to redo it.
And it really shows, what I think the logo really shows is what the focus of Disney's Hollywood Studios is planned to be for years to come at this point.
Right, you have Star Wars, you have Toy Story, and of course Mickey will always be the focus.
Right, so I mean it really just shows for years that's what they're expecting Disney's Hollywood Studios to be.
And here is an artist rendering of the new logo on the classic arch.
You know what, it's not quite what I would have expected, but it looks nice, so I'm looking forward to them adding it.
So let's talk about the food. We didn't have a chance to try a lot of the food. I think we had one item, and we're going to look at that one item coming up right now.
And by food, we mean the treats that they were having. And this is called the Playful Luxo Ball, and it has mango in it. I assume they're going to have it longer than the first day of the 30th because they really put a lot of effort into these treats. So we'll see next time we head over to the studios, probably this week. To see
I thought it was good, though. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah. And there's the poster. It was hard to believe they were handing out posters on the way out, and they're really nice. And it's nice to see Kermit there as well. So hopefully that will be a focus. Hopefully the Muppets also will be a focus of Disney's Hollywood Studios in the coming years.
Yeah, Pizza Rizzo just reopened temporarily.
Temporarily, yes. Pretty much the same food. So, yeah.
So that's about it for the 30th anniversary at Disney's Hollywood Studios. We want to thank Disney for inviting us. I had a great time. One of the most fun anniversaries I think we've ever experienced.
Yeah, it was a great time, and it feels like weeks ago now though. So because so much has happened since then, and it's hard to decide what we're going to be doing for the next show. But we had a lot. It was amazing. Like the fact that you just got to go into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. That was really cool.
Very, very cool. And we want to thank our sponsor, MEI Travel and Mousefan Travel.
Definitely check them out. I just wrote an article, 7 reasons to go to Walt Disney World this late summer and early fall, because there is so much going on. And it isn't like summer is a bad time to go. Right now you have the Flower and Garden Festival, and that will end, I think, June 3rd. And but really the fall, there's so much.
And we talked about Disneyland earlier, about going to see Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and since last week they've had reservations and they're all gone now. But it is not too late. If you check out MEI Travel, they can book a Disneyland hotel and you will get a reservation to go into the land. So there's still a chance.
There is, and we will be there opening morning, and it's very hard to believe that in just a few weeks we'll be in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Thanks to you. Thanks to your reservation skills.
No, there was no skills. I didn't know it was random. I mean, you had a bunch of, your computers open, and I was having password issues, and I, finally logged in like a half hour later, and then I ended up going first, and that was crazy. Like, I'm just like, what happened? But it was like random, as opposed to you weren't in a queue line. And so all of a sudden I have these times in front of me. I'm like, what just happened? And so I chose, 11 a.m. on May 31st.
Bottom line is very, very exciting. I
Yes.
cannot wait. Now next week, I'm not sure exactly what we're going to have on the show next week.
Shula.
I know we're doing Shula's this week, and that will be awesome because Shula's never disappoints. They have a new menu.
Phantom Manor. That's
another thing. And I think you'll be going to the Magic Kingdom tomorrow.
Right.
And I know they're getting the Speedway open, or getting it ready to open. Of course, Tron continues to have work
Construction.
construction, so that'll be interesting. So we'll see what happens, and I'm sure we'll go to another park at some point before the next week's show as well.
Or resorts.
Or all of it.
You never know what there will be. It's sort of like Minnie's Garden Party. That is ending today, and it's something I would have loved to have talked about. We still might talk about it.
We will definitely talk about it,
because
although
Minnie
it'll
was
be
cute.
a week. Yes, Minnie was too cute to not talk
But that
about.
popped up so quickly. It's something we couldn't have talked about last week, and by the time we talk about it, it's done. So you just never know.
Well, I'm glad Disney keeps us so busy with new things.
I agree.
Anyway, thanks again for listening. Have a great week, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.